in this as well, that just continues to verify that we have the right person in custody. And even this friend, maybe this is one of them. But you can see, unlike some of the other ones, that Baron Coleman, when a lot of these people are presenting these Discord chats and screenshots, you either don't see a timestamp or you don't see where the time zone is located. So that throws things off. All right. And matter of fact, one of the timestamps or one of the screenshots with a timestamp that Baron presents says 8:57, but there is no time zone on there. But what we find from these is that, again, if that's being presented by somebody in Central Time or Eastern Time, that throws things off completely, and it completely messes up the timeline. What we see from this is that that particular confession was sent at 8:57 Eastern Time, or maybe it was 9:57. So that puts it at 7:57 Mountain. You guys can go watch this, and I'm telling you, it's if you haven't seen it, you need to. It's an important part of this entire thing. So let me throw this down here and let me add Gray Hughes to the chat. What's happening, Gray?
Hey, what's going on? I had to turn up my mic. Hold on.
No worries.
I had it on silent.
All right, so you gave me a call yesterday, and we were supposed to have a stream on our own today, and to be honest with you, I kind of forgot. I had this whole thing going on.
It's okay.
But you shared some extremely interesting information with me. You ended up making a video about it. You did that yesterday. Folks, make sure you guys go follow and subscribe Gray Hughes. He does amazing investigative work. And on top of that, crime scene reconstruction, the animation that you did with Tyler Robinson, based on all the information that you got from the charging documents, and we also got from the search warrant documents, and you created a timeline of his movements down to pretty much the second, is phenomenal. And it really does, not only does it lay out what happened for everybody, but the other thing that it does is, for me, it's like when you see how much information we have and how much time and location that we have accounted for when it comes to Tyler Robinson, there's no room for really any of these other theories. There's no room for, I don't even know what they want to interject in here. But it is extremely compelling, and I think ultimately it's the truth, and that's what's important.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on. Yeah, I tried to make it where it was, especially the 360-degree shot of the Losi Center building.
Yeah,
I think that's exactly what it's going to look like, except the person will be limping. I wasn't able to make an animation with somebody limping using what I was using. But anyways, it's going to look just like that, and then you're going to see him come. It's going to be like, it'll look black because of the distance. He might be a little clearer when he's walking down there. But yeah, I mean, it fills in and here's the thing, law enforcement, the investigators, they have more information.
Yeah.
They have more videos. And, there's actually, when he goes up the stairs, for example, under the tunnel, when I was using my 360-degree camera, I actually turned around and looked, and there's a camera on the other set of stairs going up. So that means that actually filmed him leaving the top of the stairs and then turning left and probably going out onto the street to then walk there. I don't know if there's any cameras in that little sort of alleyway, the way, I don't know if I can show it if you want me to.
I got it right here. So, look, what he's talking about, and we're going to get to a new element of this that he shared with me yesterday that was pretty interesting, to say the least. Pretty surprising, some of the information he came across. But so just to give you guys some background on this, both Gray and I told Gray that, hey, look, you know what, I'm planning on going up to UVU. This is, I don't know, the first week or two of this entire saga, right? So we're looking at September 20th. Well, I don't even remember the time period that we ended up going. I think it was early October, if I remember. And he was like, you know what, I'm thinking about going to, we should go. And I was like, hey, you know what? Let's do it. This is the date I'm going to be there. So we ended up linking up. I got to spend some time with Gray, but we were walking around, and we were following the footsteps of Tyler Robinson. We were looking at everything. And this footage is from him, and he shows you some other footage. I want to get to where this was really cool. So all the footage that we see where Tyler Robinson is jumping off of, all right here, right? All All right. So this footage that we see that has been shared with us through law enforcement came from that little camera right there. And the cool thing, and I wouldn't have ever thought about this, but Gray Hughes, being the master magician that he is, he took his drone with a 360 camera and he put it in the exact same spot. And he did the same thing with every other security camera that we came across. And what he ends up doing is recreating this and showing you the view of exactly what took place so that you know what law enforcement actually has. So that's the camera there. And then on top of that, I just want to show you guys. So then he created this animation.
In there.
And this is all by...
And then eventually he'll make his way into the...
He has all of this timed with the time of the event. And with using the information and the different timestamps of locations that they have in the charging documents, in the search warrants, all of these things. I mean, Gray, how long did it take you to make this video? I mean, it had to be...
Oh, it took me a couple weeks, actually. And it only got like 1,500 views. I mean, I don't mean to complain, but it just seems so ludicrous, you know, like to spend that much time. And it's so... I went with every little bit of information on the charging documents, timed it all up to, and also with the Bartholomew timeline, his video synced up as well, so I could just kind of clip back and forth. And then also, like there's a 15-minute long video of Charlie Kirk speaking down there.
Right.
And so it's like the audio, you can just sync it all up. You know, I know exactly when all the different parts are. So that's why I didn't want to show Charlie getting shot again. So I cut over to the kid on the roof. But, you know, it's like, you know, we've seen that so many times. There's really no point. I'm sure it'd be...
Ray, if you want to 1000x your video views, what you need to do is you need to do the same thing. But all you got to do is put one of your animated people in another location. And I don't know, maybe... put some Israeli colors or French or colors on him. Yeah. Like, I know I just showed you all of this, and there's no way a shot really came from anywhere else, but I think there could have been an Israeli/French, maybe a French Israeli over in this.
Yeah, it's weird. The version I made, you know how the normal shot has an eagle on the front? I put an Israeli flag. I'm just kidding. Hey, come on. That was pretty good.
That's how you get the views. There's a simple formula for this. So let's going back to the phone call that you and I had yesterday, because I thought that was, I was sitting there chilling out. Greg calls me. I'm like, what's going on here? So give us some background or however you want to do that. And then you can share the video, because I know you did a video on this last night, right?
Yeah, I talked about it last night. On the show, but I did a video last night too, and again, that, you know, I need more views for sure. But the it was crazy. You know, you get emails, I get emails. This guy sent me an email and he says, "Hey, I've got this sort of aerial footage of the area, you know, surveying. You know, it's like a surveyor's." And I was like, "Yeah, you know," he didn't send me a picture, but I go. Well, then I sort of was curious, and I go, well, why don't you send me some pictures? And then when he sent me the pictures, it was crazy, because it actually shows, you know, I mean, you could actually, there's photographs that you can see Charlie Kirk's event with people walking around. It's all piling in, filling in. He's got photographs. These are airplane aerial photographs, not satellite images. Mm-hmm. So I guess apparently there's these companies that go around and fly and just film. And you pay, you know, it's just random what date it is. It just happens to be this date, you know, but now the conspiracy, you know, not to the conspiracy theorists. That camera was there that date for a reason. Okay. But anyways, it was September.
It's just a coincidence that there was a in the sky. Was it?
So they did, like, I guess what, I mean, it was amazing, because he showed me shots, and I guess it's right around like between 11 and 11:30 a.m., which is cool, because that's when Tyler Robinson is in the area, walking around doing different things. But he actually, you know, but it's just sort of luck. Like it's 11:02, 11:16, and 11:28 or something. But one of them showed a Dodge Challenger parked. Like, he looked around and it kind of made sense. And all the timing makes sense. It's weird. If you go through and you know the information, everything makes sense. There's just like maybe 10 minutes of missing time where he might be in a car or something. And like, when that Challenger, I believe it really is a Challenger, is filmed, I think he's just sitting in that car right then. Because that's at 11:28.
Let's see what you got.
All right, cool. Let's see. So I'll just show you, like, in order, just some random photos. I gotta switch screen. Let me get to my. I'll do the way I did it before.
Wait.
Or like this. How about that? And then you can make my screen big if you want, so people can see it.
Yep. Boom.
Yeah. So this is actually from that plane, and this is the house that had the. I'm gonna just go through it in order.
Okay.
This is the house that had the TMZ footage filming. And then you see him, when he's leaving, he's running back behind there. But when he's coming in, he walks right by these fuchsia plants. And then he cuts across, and then he walks this direction. And this image here is 11:02, you know. So, I mean, this is literally only 50-something minutes after he did his dry run. So, man, if this was at like 10:06, you'd see him walking somewhere around here. I mean, it'd be crazy. But it's not in there. And then this is the same shot across the street, so he would have walked like this and cut through. Now, this shot here is what he believes is the Dodge Challenger. I think it is too, actually. And here's the wider shot of that. And he put a yellow symbol over the top of it. And you can tell it's the same. I mean, see the shadow, the bush, boom, boom, boom.
Can you go to the other map on the back screen of this and kind of orient everybody what we're talking about, kind of? So
yeah.
Show them where UVU is, and then we see his route that you already kind of have mapped out.
Yeah, UVU's over here, and this is kind of where we know that he moved around on various occasions. Okay, and then the satellite image footage that he had is it's north of. Well, I mean, the crazy part is I had him parked here and right there. It turns out it's on the same street, but then just right up here, and it makes absolutely sense. That's why it's like very incredibly likely to be the Dodge Challenger, because let me just show you guys what it looks like on a map. So the photograph that he took is kind of like from like that angle, or not him himself, but let me zoom out right there. See how that's got the same sort of weird street up there?
Yep.
It's like ding, ding, ding. And then, so it's right there, and 600 West right there. And then I found the exact spot. So for example, what really kind of seals it in is, see these two manholes right there?
Yep.
Right. So then you go right down to Street View, and there they are.
Features match perfectly.
And there's the two manholes, and the car was parked right there. Now, it's an interesting spot, too. When you look at Street View, there's a fence there, so it's a good hiding spot. Now, there is a house right there, so I think my two spots that I found were better than this one. But it turns out, I think that literally is the vehicle. And I'll show you this. I got a PDF file that has an overlay of a 2013 Dodge Challenger that I purchased. It's a 3D model I used in my animations, my videos, and here it is right here. So let me zoom in more so you can see it.
The dimensionally is perfect.
Let me get rid of the graph on here. There we go. So look at where the rear view mirrors are, and these little, I'm not sure what those are, like spoilers maybe?
Louvers.
Hoovers? Okay, watch this.
Yep.
I mean, they're right there. I mean, so right there. And the mirrors I'm going to blink it on and off. Probably the better way to do it is to turn it on and then mess around with the opacity. So watch this. I mean, look.
Yeah, it's definitely a Dodge Challenger. I mean, I guess the only question is it Tyler Robinson? And I think, given the circumstances, it is highly probable.
Yeah, I'm like 95. That's just, and this looks like a smaller window, but that's actually just a shadow under there.
So he was parked here. This was parked here during the dry run, right?
Let's see. Well, that's the one thing I don't know, but I'm sort of think he may have now, because this right here is 11:28.
Okay, so we're at 11:28. So this is right before Charlie Kirk was shot. So
yeah, this is 11:28, and then remember he walks on that street at 11:45. He's walking down the street.
So we think this is most likely where he was parked when he shot Charlie Kirk, and then where he exfilled back to.
Yeah, exactly. Because now we look at it. Look how simple this is. He walks from there straight down here, and then goes this way. And then the one on his dry run, he went down here, and the person that sent it to me, his theory was that that's the house under construction where you flew the drone from, and that's where he parked at like 1 a.m. on the 11th. But he thought maybe he was going to try to go down there, but was sort of rebuffed by the excavator driver, right? So then he goes, okay, and then later on, he does continue on and go this way, but then he decided later to not go this route on the final route, that he would just walk this way, or maybe he came down here to check this area out because he knows he's going to throw a gun down there. Because remember earlier, oh, that's interesting, I didn't thought of that. Remember earlier, he is at this parking garage at 8:28, and then he walks over to the wooded area, and then he goes to where Charlie Kirk was. But now that I think about it, he checked out this wooded area, and he knows on a map where that is, I'm sure. And so when he came over here on the dry run, that was at 9:58 when he walked by this house over here, 9:57, he may have looked to see how he could, exfil, as you'd like to call it, after, from putting the rifle there and going up through there. Okay, and that might be what that was completely about, knowing that later he was going to walk this way anyways on his final run up here on 800 South, and then turning south on 800 West. Yeah, no, this is crazy. So look at the timing here, just on a couple different things. So at 9:24, he makes his way back to the parking garage, and then leaves the parking garage at 9:32. All right, so then I've timed it out. It's a 3-minute drive to get back up to, I think it was back up to the car there. So he would get there at 9:35. Okay. And then if you walk from there down this direction, it's 9:57. It takes, I think it was 7 minutes. So that means it would be, he would have walked by there at 9:42, but he walks by there at 9:58, right? So that means he just sat in his car, because when he went, he didn't wear his backpack on that original 8:30 in the morning trip. They didn't mention backpack, but now he has the backpack on, so he probably went to his...
For people that aren't follow this as closely as us, I just want to, so what we know from the charging documents and from search warrants and things like that, folks, is that we know that Tyler Robinson drove to UVU. First, he goes in the parking garage, or what'd you say, 8 something, 9 something?
Yeah, 8:28. He went into the parking garage, which is interesting. Well, and let me just tell you this, because watch this. Look at this. This is crazy. And he also sent me a video. We'll take a look at here in a minute. This guy, but watch the. I think this is the. There it is. So in this video right here. Let's see. What was it? Oh, yeah. The first clip in the morning. I was trying to figure out what I was trying to show you. Is this the... Hold on a second. Is it this one? Yeah, this is the one that has it. All right, so look at that. Here comes the Dodge Challenger right here on the street. This is that clip that I went and got from that guy.
Yep. And
then look what time it is right here. It's 8:22 and 50. So 8:23 really when it drives by right there. Okay. So look at what it does. It drives by right there, and then maybe it drove up here for a minute and then came back down, and then drove right over here. And at 8:28, just 5 minutes later, he pulls into that parking garage. Don't you find that interesting? Like just that little tiny gap, you know. So they have him on camera. Also, I bet you after he drove by that house, this house camera here has a Dodge Challenger driving by, and then he turns left right here, and then he pulls into there at 8:28, just 5 minutes after he was on that camera shot at that house. So that just completely lines it all up. Just that little element right there. You know, he's not escaping that part. And then he leaves at 9:32 from the parking garage after walking around campus. And then he would get back to a parking spot over there at maybe like 9:35. And then you see him walking by that house again at 9:58. It's crazy, you know? So there's only like 14 minutes of missing time there. All right, anyways, you can go ahead. What were you I'm sorry.
No, you did exactly what I wanted everybody to like know from start to finish, kind of what we were talking about. And just for people that either doesn't know the timelines or maybe never have known the timelines. And folks, by the way, again, Gray has 2 videos, now a third, and I think you're coming out with a 4th.
Yeah.
Where all the animation is there. He's created the animation, and this is matching up with, again, the charging documents, as well as homeowner footage that we've seen, TMZ footage. Again, Gray actually talked to a guy, ended up getting his home surveillance footage. He gave him a copy of it while he was there. It's amazing, like if you actually go to a place and do real investigative work, how much information you can actually get while you're on site. While I was on site, I ended up talking to 4 different
that's cool.
You know, and to me, like that trip was so important because it just solidified so much and it answered so many questions that I still had personally.
I've only done part 1 and 2, by the way, and then there's part 3 coming up.
Yeah, but you also released the footage that you have
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So you got 3 videos that kind of take people through the steps, minute by minute, from the very beginning of the morning, everything that he did. And you can choose for yourself. You can decide for yourself, like, does that make sense? And as a matter of fact, it makes more sense, and it's corroborated by more evidence than any other alternative that anyone wants to present you. And I also want to point out, like, I don't care what theory that you go with, whether you're talking about, I don't know, palm guns, the Jews did it, Israel did it. I don't care if you're talking about exploding mics. Like, at some point, you got to reconcile everything else that comes into this. Like, why was Tyler Robinson there? You know, if it wasn't a 30-06 that shot Charlie, why did they go with a 30-06? Like, none of it. The only thing that does make sense, and we continue to have the small amount of information gaps that we now have, those will get filled out even more. But as we've gone along, everything is coherent from one side of this. And you can call it the Fed slop side, you can call it the official, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But it's what makes sense. It's what we have evidence for. And I would be the first one to love to find some deep, dark government conspiracy and prove that Charlie Kirk was killed by somebody else. It's not what happened, folks.
And he would. I guarantee you, he'd love that.
I did.
I know. Yeah, I mean, it actually, you know, you got to look into every angle. But this one, for me, like really quick, and I've told everybody this. I've been doing true crime videos and so forth on YouTube since 2012 or 13. And I would say that this is the strongest case that I've ever seen. And it's not even close. Like, this thing is just, I mean, it is, I mean, it must be an absolute nightmare for the defense to even try to come up with, they're just trying to get something taken out or, you know, like taken out of the case or something. But it is incredible. I mean, you're talking about his text messages, all talked about it. I went over, did that last night. I put together both the text messages, exchanges, you know, what they're different. There's different things in the charging document compared to that search warrant that came out. So I put them all together. So it's a longer conversation. It sounds kind of stupid. It's like AI, and they're just like dumb voices. But it was okay. But you want to see? He took more footage over here.
Yes.
Like it's kind of, he made a video for me, so I can. Let me throw that right there. So look at that. I mean, this is at. Let's see. I just saw it right there. It's at September 10th, 2025 at 11:27. So this means that like Charlie Kirk was shot less than an hour after this. So here's people sort of milling about. And then I'm just going to kind of move it forward.
Charlie Kirk's vehicles are there yet. They kind of went up the middle of that.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
And then here's another shot. This one is at 11:02, so earlier. So it's not quite as populated. And then this one is this is just a whole different day, September 24th. But, it's sort of interesting. Like even on, I think if we go back to this one, I mean, look at this. Right there is where, that's where Tyler Robinson would be not too long after that.
Yeah.
Right on that little edge there. And then I think this one, I'm not sure. This one I don't think it picked it up. It's just right up there. But anyway, so you got that. And then this one here is at 11:36. So this one's even later. And then I think this one is, I don't know, let's see, this one is at 11:36 also, but zoomed out. So it has the ability to zoom in and out. And that's where Tyler Robinson would have been, I think, yeah, right there. It's kind of really blurry, but
yeah.
You can zoom in on this stuff, and then it gets really clear. Because it's like, I think they use really high definition.
Use different focal lengths is what it is. They're switching from a wide angle to a different focal length that is more zoomed in.
And here's like a vertical shot. This one's 11:18. So there's vertical and then sometimes side shots.
And
so
again, like around 12:24, right?
Yeah, 12:23 and 28 and a half seconds. I mean, I know that's where I have it, so based on Bartholomew's.
Literally 1 hour before he was shot.
Yeah, and this one here is 11:18. So again, there's not as many people there, but this again, that's where Robinson would have shot from, right here to there. I mean, that's not much different than just looking at Google Earth, but look at that. He's able to kind of move around, and then I think he gets somewhere. There's like a vehicle that he thinks might be, well, here, this is interesting. Watch this. So this is September 10th at 11:18. All right. So remember, he walks on that sawtooth fence at 11:45. Remember that? He walks down the side of the street. Let me show you this. It's this is kind of stuff I think is interesting. Let me move it up. Go to the, I think it was 8. There we go. That one. Just got to load up again. There we go. So here he is. He's walking by right there, and there's a clock, a timer on this. So it's 11:45 and 46 seconds. He's walking by, but check it out. See that car right there? That like a white sort of, I don't know what you call those, like mini pickup truck kind of thing. And then there's a blue car right there. All right, so now let's go back to this shot, and look at that. See, there's that car, and there's the blue car. Right, but it's exactly right, because this roof goes off at an angle, and it goes right there to the back of the vehicle. See that? Now, if we go over to this one, see there's the roof, and it goes right to that middle, the window part that I was talking about. Yep. So it just shows you that it really is, it's a legitimate aerial shot. And there's this blue car and that one. This car seems to have disappeared, but these two are there in that shot. All right, so let's go back.
I think Candace Owens has poured over all this footage with this level of detail, don't you think?
Oh yeah, she's. you know when you knew she never did anything is when she kept saying that you had to be a gymnast to get on the roof.
Yeah,
it's like
scale the roof like Spider-Man. You also knew that she didn't really go over the stuff when she gets called out by the CNN reporter saying those were text messages. Like, oh no, I thought those were from Discord. Like it literally says text messages right on the document.
Yeah. So look at this. He does like here it is. This is like just down the street. So watch this. There's the blue car, and then we're zooming out. That's right there. Okay. And that's at 11:18. And then watch how he moves down and then goes up this street. And then look at right there. There it is. The Dodge Challenger. I mean, that's amazing to me. You know, I think he's sitting in the car right now in this shot because he'd have to get out of the car at like 11:30 something and then walk by there at 11:45. He's getting ready at some point. You know, I don't know, like probably 5 minutes, 10 minutes after that, he probably opens the door. You know, I'm not sure if he's, you know, he obviously had to change his pants, his shirt. Take his shoes off because there's no way in hell you'd get those jeans over the top of over those Chuck Taylors.
Yep.
You know. So you know, then let's see. So this one here is at 11:18. Now he does it again at this one is. Let's see. Does he just slide over on that one? 11:18. He shows the spot a couple times, and it's not there at 11:08 or something. Maybe it's this one. Oh, that's September 23rd. Okay, let me just see. September 20. I guess this one, not September 24th. Okay, that one's September 10th at 11:26. So he's still there in that vehicle at 11:26. So that means in less than 20 minutes, he's walking down the street over there. That's why you know he's in there. I mean, that's if this is his Dodge Challenger. It just is parked in the exact right spot that you would think if it wasn't one of my, you know, the two spots I had, is one of them's even on the same street, just south of it. Then, let's see, there's a couple more of these, I think. Was it this one? This one's at 11:10. And look, that car doesn't appear to be there. What time was that one? The first one that we saw? Was it 12? This is 11:10, and I don't think that vehicle was parked right there at that time.
No, almost definitely isn't. I think you said it was, what, 11:28?
Yeah, there was 11:28, but then there was that first one. Let me go back. I just want to get the timing here, because it's interesting. There's another car on the road that could be that car before getting there. If we can get this. This is 11:18. Okay. All right, so that's cool. So at 11:10, that car is not there, but it is there at 11:18, and it's still there at 11:18.
11:28.
And then, yeah, 11:28. Yeah, and then let's go. And this one, these are just like random dates.
Yep.
This is the 10th. He just added some other ones in there. That's actually the 10th at 2:09, and it's not there. No, the 18th. Excuse me. Sorry, it's hard to see. That's kind of small there. And then 11:26. Looks like he's about to show something. And there it is. September 10th, 11:26. Also. Because there are multiple different passes by. And let's see. And this one is. I don't know if it has a time on it. Then there's one more video that he did. And this one. See that vehicle right there?
Yeah.
And then this one is at. Look at that. 11:10. So just before. That other one, what was it? God, now I can't remember. Was it 11:10 also? There was 11:18 and 11:26.
Yeah.
Right. So isn't that amazing that here's this car. Now you zoom in on it, and the vehicle isn't long like that. Okay. That's a shadow. That's a shadow. So I think it's really just right there.
It's hard to see if it has a sunroof or not, because his obviously does. But
yeah, it's hard to tell.
The vehicle's also clearly in motion. So we're getting motion blur.
Yeah, so I mean, this is one I'm not certain about, but he looked around, and that is sort of interesting that there's a car similar, perhaps, I mean, he put it into AI. I did it too. Once I told first AI thought it was an SUV, and I go, well, it's not an SUV. But I'd already mentioned, could it be a Dodge Challenger? And then after I said, oh, it's not a SUV, it says, well, my best guess is a Dodge Challenger. Ah, shut up. I mean, I don't, now I don't know if you got it from what I told you.
Real quick, do we have a picture of his vehicle? I can't remember that confirms that he has a sunroof on his vehicle.
We can go back to that surveillance footage over here. I think we should be able to see it from it.
And are we 100% sure that that is his car coming down on the surveillance footage?
This one?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I can say that, but
you can see the glare if he's doing it.
yeah.
You can tell that it does have a. I'm just wondering if there's any evidence or pictures of his vehicle that have been released that show that his indeed has a. I feel like his VIN number was released at one point. I don't remember.
Well, there's also the shots where he's over in. You remember when the car was parked outside of his house on Google Earth? Now that's blurred out, but I think, man, we've got to have that somewhere, right?
Right.
I mean,
that would help. Just kind of be one more thing that would help confirm or deny that information for sure.
Yeah, I guess
But I do think one hell of a coincidence for sure if it's not him.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also he drove right by where he walks a little bit later. I mean, this car literally, I mean, it's driving right here, and the amount of time it takes is almost perfect for driving over to the parking garage. And I think the odds of this not being his are extremely low, like it would be ridiculous almost. It'd be like, wow,
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know. I wish I could see. It's hard to tell. I mean, even, like you're saying, it looks like glare, but, let's go. Though that car maybe doesn't have one. Let's go back to the one. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that has one either, I mean, is that a sunroof?
Yeah, right. That doesn't actually look like it does.
So I don't know if he has a sunroof. I never thought about that. I've never. Do you guys in the chat? You ever seen him?
One of the pictures you showed, it looked like it was clearly, maybe it was this one, and that could just be a shadow. But if it is a sunroof, it would extend further forward because that's not even over the. I may have. You know what? It doesn't look like there is a sunroof there.
Yeah, I think that's just sort of shadows, and
I think I misinterpreted that picture for.
Yeah, so that one, is that the same car that's driving down the road a minute ago that we were looking at? That'd be incredible if it is, because that literally works.
I mean,
because at 12:10 or 11:10, I mean, he's not parked over there, but then he is parked at 11:18, and then here's this car driving down the road that easily could be that car.
Well, it's definitely not a giant leap. It's more like a little hop. We can't 100% confirm or deny, but it's. I mean, it makes the timelines, locations. Right.
I believe this is his, though. I think this is, I think that that's like 95%. I can't say 100%, because, I just can't. I don't have the license plate. Law enforcement, though, obviously, I think that has canvassed the area. And, they never mention some of these residential shots hardly anywhere in the probable cause documents, right? They use the official sort of, cameras on campus, things like that, and interesting, when it says that at 11:50, he starts walking on the grass and it's picked up on a UVU surveillance camera. Well, what's interesting about that is that house, it's right at the same time too, but that's not a UVU camera. That's their camera.
Well,
right?
I think the reality is they didn't need all of the, to fill in all the blanks, but they didn't need all of those cameras and all that footage to actually get probable cause. Like we see it, there's enough information there for probable cause. I'm sure by now people have went through this additional footage and they're filling in the blanks. And we also see that from the search warrant information where they include additional times and locations where they know he was parked at. even while he was trying to get back to his rifle.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just such a tight time frame, you know, like there's very little, the part that I'd love, let me show you what I was talking about in one of the videos, if I could.
Sure.
I don't think it doesn't show up as well as I'd like, but I think Tyler, or came out these doors right here. So you remember when you walk in the Losi Center building,
Yep.
you come in right here, and I wouldn't be shocked at all if he came out these doors almost immediately, or, you know, who knows, like maybe
Walked right
lingered in, and then he walks right over here, and he walked right to this spot because he'd been there. He knows what to do, and he's just waiting for Charlie Kirk. And then look at this. You can actually see. Let me zoom in. Look at that. I mean, it's crazy, right? Like, I mean, it's like from that little spot, you can see down there. And then I think when he saw Charlie Kirk go on the stage, and he got on the stage and started taking questions, that's what he needed him to be doing, because then he's in a fixed position sitting, right?
Sure.
So this is going to be at 12:13-ish is when he sat down. And then think about that. He turns around after he sees him sit down, then he walks over here slowly because he's got the rifle, then up the stairs, and then at 12:15, he's up here, and then he goes over here, hops over the fence, because that's how he knew that now he's taking the questions. Isn't that amazing? I mean, I think that is what he was doing. How else would he have really known? You know, I guess you could be online. I don't know if there was live streamed or how that was working. Do you know anything about that?
I'm not 100% sure. It now gets convoluted in my brain what was live streamed and what we saw afterwards. So we know Bartholomew was live streaming for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that'd be kind of interesting. But I think it was almost like Charlie Kirk. Let's see. Yeah, we could probably figure out when he started taking the first questions just by listening to the audio on that. And I've already got the precise time on one of Bartholomew's video, because he sent me metadata. See, originally he had a specific time, and I said, well, I need the exact time. So he went back in and he was able to come up with like the precise, minute and second that the video started recording, even though it's dark at first, and then it started, and then there was audio. So that's how I went back and I put the clock at exactly the time that it was supposed to start. And then as it played forward, the shot took place at 12, 23, and 28 seconds. Yeah.
Well,
I like to have like the seconds. I don't know why, but
12, 23, 24. Real quick, too, I want to show everybody this, because this is an important part of this. Look, all of this information that I'm getting ready to show you, I have, Gray has, but, when people are like, well, Gary thinks one way, or Gray thinks one way, and these other people think the other way. And most of it is because you haven't done what we've done. And what I would say is, if you're going to determine what is true and what's not true, at a minimum, what you need to do is, I went through almost every single one of these documents. These are all the different court documents, and I've read through most, if not all of these. We have the probable cause affidavit. Another big one was the defendant's motion to exclude cameras. There was a bunch of information in that. This one right here, a lot of information in this one. The probable cause. And then you go back to this. Let me see where I have. I also have a different documents. The other big one that has a lot of information in it is the search warrant for Apple Corporation. So you can go in there, like, you can find a lot of information. It fills in the gaps. So what I've seen time and time again are all these people that have come to all these conclusions. They haven't put in the work. All they've done is listen to people telling them things. And so their conclusions are not even their own. Their conclusions are what other people have come up with. And most of these people that I've discussed with and had on the show and everything else, or talked with on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, like, they don't know the basics of the information. They don't know what actually took place, or at least what is being presented as fact by the state, by the FBI, by the ATF. All of these things, like they don't even, I still have people saying that there's no serial number. They didn't even have a serial number. That rifle wasn't traceable. There's a serial number in the evidence log. It's like 8479. It's like a 4-digit serial number. So most of these people are just so devoid of facts that they shouldn't even be arguing anything about this.
I mean, if you put it all together, you just sit there. It's just, like I said before, it's so tight. It's even more amazing is in part 3 that I'm going to be putting out there, you're going to see where he goes across the street, and that would probably, he's probably in the woods at 12, 24, and 30 seconds. And then he goes, we have it, the time almost all the way up till there anyways, but he's going to go across the street. Then he's going to sort of disappear from camera for a while. And then I'll show pictures of the rifle and whatever, in the that was found in the woods. Then he's going to exit. And I think I'm just going to have him sort of go around and sort of go by the, what is that called? The ROTC building. Mm-hmm. And then he runs back behind the homes. I'll show that. And then he's probably going to walk when he makes it to the street. And so what's interesting is I did the timing of all of that using, Google Maps and the walking time, et cetera. And then I even made it a little quicker because he's not going to be, now he doesn't have the rifle in his pants. So he literally gets back to the vehicle where it's parked. And then when he gets in the car, I timed it to the shopping mall. And he gets to the shopping mall the way I had it at 12:43, okay? But, it turns out it's 12:44. It's so perfect, though, because I'm just estimating some of the time frame. Like if Google Earth says it takes us 7 minutes to walk, it might be 8, it might be 6. Who the hell knows? It's close to that. So either way, he drives to the shopping mall and he gets there at 12:43 in mine, but he actually in real life got there at 12:44, and that's when he typed in, how to get to the Quick Quack car wash. And then at 12:46, he drives away, and you see it on camera, him stopping to look up the Quick Quack car wash, pulls away, and then he shows up to the Quick Quack car wash just moments later. So they have all of that. Now, where he was between like 1 and 6 when he went to Dairy Queen, I don't know. They probably have a great idea because he didn't turn his damn phone off. He's an idiot. Yeah. So they know exactly where he is. I mean, it's wild, Yeah.
He left so much evidence, and that was the other thing. People were like, "Oh, this guy's brilliant. He would have done this. He would have done that." Like, this guy was not brilliant. He doesn't even talk about it in the text messages, DNA evidence, or anything else. So he made a lot of mistakes, and between the evidence that we have and the evidence that we'll end up seeing at trial, look, they have his cell phone location data. Like, if you want to believe anything else happened, you're believing it in spite of the evidence that is crystal clear. And that's fine. That's your choice. But I mean, you're just like holding on to Santa Claus. Gary, thanks for all the great. Keep up the good fight. Gray with Paramount deserves some super chats, especially. So please support the channel, guys. Yeah. First of all, if you haven't done so already, make sure you guys go like and subscribe our channel, but also Gray Hughes Investigates. Go support him over there. He's doing great work. Alec Cake, thank you very much. Get to 5 Gray Hughes Investigates.
Yeah, I went live on my channel just really quick anyways. So what the hell, right?
I'm glad you did.
I was like, oh yeah, it's available. I didn't know that. I didn't know that just randomly like that I could do that. But
Yeah, absolutely. Get the 5 Gray Hughes Investigates memberships. Thank you, guys. Thank you for supporting Gray. You'd be surprised how often street cops have to go door to door looking for security camera footage with certain cases. If it's a business, they can just send a subpoena. Cops can find the private videos. Yes. Do you have any concerns with the government ties to Israel AIPAC? I've talked about this on the show dozens and dozens and dozens of times. We've compared the different lobby groups from CARE to AIPAC to many others. First of all, AIPAC is way down at the bottom. It's not even in the top 10 of the lobby groups. I'm concerned. I'm always concerned about money in politics? I don't have a good answer for you, and I don't think anyone else does. The other thing you have to realize is that APAC, these are Americans. A in APAC stands for American. So these are American citizens, and not all Jewish, by the way, just other people that support Israel and are support of Israel. They support American support of Israel for all kinds of different reasons. So these are people that are taking their own money and they are putting it into, this PAC that allows them to lobby Congress on their behalf and the things that they want to see done. But that happens with all kinds of different groups all throughout the country. And AIPAC is not the most powerful. It's not even close. So, I don't have a good answer for you. I think that if I want to give $10,000 of my own money to a certain candidate or a certain cause, I should be able to do that. That is a First Amendment right. One of the things I've said time and time again, I think that capitalism is the truest form of democracy. You can vote for whatever you want, but the real power is taking your hard-earned cash and time and putting it behind a cause. That's how you really support an effort in the United States. So I think that is directly tied, obviously, and so does the Supreme Court. That's directly tied to the First Amendment. I think it's complicated, right? So, and again, I don't think that Israel is the biggest problem. Israel is far, like, what everybody turns this anti-Semitic narratives into. It just falls apart under the weight of itself. We have 0.2% of the world population supposedly running all of the U.S., that, they're controlling Trump. Like, the idea that Israel controls Trump, again, is just, you have to be not very smart. I'm trying to be as kind as possible today. You have to be not very smart to believe that Trump is controlled by Israel. It's as stupid as the 2016 narrative that Russia controls Trump. It's just, as a matter of fact, it's the same exact psyop. It's the same exact information operation, influence operation, trying to get you and other people to hate Trump or to believe something that's not true so that it affects your vote or they want you to stay home. A lot of this is demoralization, and you just get confused by what's being said out there. Like, what, I'm just not voting. That's what they want. 100%.
I guess somebody just sent you a picture of his car being towed underneath your X video, apparently. If you want to show it, I don't know if it shows the roof or not, but
let me see. They sent it to me on X.
Yeah, that's what somebody said in the comments.
All right, let me see. I'm not seeing it, Jen. I don't know if you see that anywhere.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I just tried to go look for it. I didn't see it. Well, how about this? Whoever wrote that in there, does it have a sunroof or not? That's all we need to know. Did it have a sunroof or not on there? When it's being towed? I don't think it did. I don't remember seeing one on there. I've never thought of it as having one.
Yeah. We'll get that answered. Unlike Candace, Chase and Gary will actually go to the scene and ask for private footage. Candace just has a tip line. Gray Hughes.
Who's Chase?
Chase Hughes. I was just talking about him. I think that's why.
I always I'd be like, my diploma from college said Gary on it. Okay. So, hey, just change the last name. You got another degree, man.
There you go. Yeah. What about the body cam videos? Does that show his car from when he had the car accident? It's a good question. I don't think it was the same car. I want to say
about the body cam video? Does that show his car?
When Candace is talking about whether or not he says vehicle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't think it's the same car, if I remember correctly, but we'd have to look that up. The blank search warrant for Apple account tells me a lot. LE can immediately put a secure hold to a social media or phone account. They just take everything before it's deleted until the warrant is approved. Agreed. Folks, they have a ton of information. Like, the only thing that's left open for me on Tyler, just based on the evidence, is whether or not other people knew, or whether or not he was radicalized, recruited, weaponized, or directed at something online or even in person. When you start looking at I always screw this name up, the gun queers for SLC or whatever it is. When you start looking at that group, Did they have direct contact with them? Was there something going on with that? I still have questions with that. We don't have any evidence of it, but it's just I think logical questions. I don't know if they have investigated that. They could have also, all of that could be true, and they just don't have the evidence to pursue it. That's the other part of it. They could have
I'm not sure.
let's meet at the gun club, and they
Yeah.
meet up with people, and then let's say that it had a big conspiracy and this was planned out and several people were involved. Unless they get a confession from Tyler Robinson saying that, and or have some other sort of evidence, like they could get away with that very easily.
You know, that's one of the only angles that I could see too. But then you sort of because I believe that their text exchange was real. Like I think that was absolutely legit, and I don't think it was meant to throw people off and stuff. So the thing is it didn't seem like Lance Twiggs. I bet you anything they hated Charlie Kirk, and they've even talked about, man, I wish somebody would do something. But then maybe Tyler just sort of came up with the plan and acted out, and then that's why he was sort of like kind of shocked. Twiggs was. So I don't know. I sort of feel like I think his community of people didn't like Charlie Kirk, and they probably said it over and over and over again, and he acted out on it. And that's why he sort of felt comfortable sort of saying it to all of them later, and then they all just had to denounce it because they didn't want to be sort of brought up in terms of encouraging it to happen,
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I just think it's more likely just that.
Let me share this. I'm sharing that video to Rex.
Okay.
Sent. We will check that out.
I think Tyler just did. Somebody said Tyler takes orders. Okay. All right. Who? The Israeli government, right? Okay.
I mean, we don't have any evidence of that. Matter of fact, we have a lot of evidence against that. It could be the case, but just to jump to that conclusion, I think is the wrong way to do that. Right now,
anything's possible. I guess.
Anything's possible. There's nothing that's excluding that, other than him not telling the truth. When he's talking to Lance Twiggs, if you believe the text for what they say, even Lance Twiggs says he doesn't know what's going on. I have a hard time buying that too. So I'm with you guys. There are some questions left unanswered, and there may always be. It's just how these things.
Charlie Kirk. While it's quiet right now, a team from the FBI arrived not long ago. They got out, prepped everything, and have since entered the home. A few of them investigated the gray Charger in the parking lot that we've seen in surveillance video provided by the FBI.
Now the FBI is delving
the large screen thing.
Right now, it's a very quiet neighborhood. We spoke to a few neighbors who mentioned just how shocked they were that some. Right now, it's a video provided by the FBI.
Every shot's like perfectly where you can't see it.
Yeah. It doesn't look like there is a doesn't look like
the gray Charger.
Did they even have sunroofs on Challengers?
Parking lot that we've seen in surveillance.
Look, it's pretty clear to me that there's not a sunroof right there. So
let me just type it in. Do Dodge
video provided by the FBI.
Challenge.
Now the FBI is
Right now, it's a very quiet neighborhood. We spoke to a few neighbors who mentioned just how shocked they were that something like this would happen in their town.
Okay, so
Police
they can
have this
be
whole area
equipped.
blocked off. As you can see, there's quite a bit of media here. Lots of people coming to take a look, but we've kind of pushed back to this area so that they can go ahead and investigate.
almost certainly not a sunroof. Right there it is.
Yeah, and it's also kind of near the front of the.
Yeah.
Near the front window. It's like closer to that than the back. I was just looking at it. If you want to see, let me switch over. Really, I'll just switch over. You don't have to zoom in or anything. People can see it. So right there, that's like a blue one.
It's going to be near. Yeah, there.
See that right there? That's one that has it.
There you go. So that kind of rules that out as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and it's definitely not on that one that we were looking at.
Yep.
So
There's that. Well, what else, Gray? Anything else you can think of? That was cool stuff, though. The fact that somebody just happened to have some aerial imagery.
yeah, I appreciate that they got a hold of me.
Yeah.
I'm glad they got a hold of me, because imagine getting hold of Candace Owens with the same thing. First of all, it wouldn't see the light of day, and then second, she would just turn it into something totally different. Look out, they're doing. Look at that. Those are probably the Egyptian planes that took those photos.
It would have been spun into a narrative of some sort if it would have been shown. And that's the other thing too. It's like she just showed photos the other day, a couple weeks ago now, that she'd been holding on to for months and months and months, and she never showed those to anybody. It was the video from behind Charlie Kirk. Like, she'd been holding on to that and not giving that to anybody. There's a lot of information that could have been gleaned from that by a lot of other people actually doing investigatory work, like us. So, and yet she demands all the evidence from everybody else, but the information that she has, she doesn't share. I think, again, it just points once again to some hypocrisy.
Yeah, I think this case, like, we haven't seen it yet, but I guarantee you they have his DNA is going to be found on the roof itself. When he has his hand up there, they swabbed that. They're going to get touched. I mean, there's just so many angles, and then we don't know yet where the screwdriver was found. If that was up on the roof or was it in the wooded area. I think it was on the roof behind that little wall, and he just sort of forgot it. You got amped up and took off. After putting the rifle together over the wall, I think he just got up and went, took off.
Colton says, you get someone to do something by slowly indoctrination and manipulation. I think Tyler was manipulated into doing what he did. I bet the text would show that. I'm sorry, Gray, that was disrespectful. I don't know what you're talking about as far as disrespectful goes, but
what are you talking about? What I do? What was disrespectful?
I think it was something he said. He was saying maybe a comment that he said that he thought was disrespectful to you. Look, I mean, humans do a lot of different things, and the other, like we are often, our actions are inexplicable, so often. And the other thing too is, like, once we start projecting our own sensibilities onto what I think is clearly a sociopath. When I'm watching Tyler Robinson in the courtroom, and like the complete lack of emotion or realization of what is going on, that there's no remorse. He's either smiling, or it's just like somebody else, like everybody in that courtroom is more somber than he is. I think we get into trouble when we start trying to predict other people's actions by what we would do. And I don't doubt, I think people can get into, number one, you have this guy that was straight, allegedly, gets into this homosexual relationship with this furry gay dude. And even in the Turkey Tom videos, what his friend is talking about is like how fast that whole thing escalated. They went from normal to just weird very quickly. And I think once you get indoctrinated into that, like, I think it is very clear on it, using his own agency, that he decided to come up with this. Could he have also been influenced? Do I think that they sat around and had conversations about people that didn't like gays or trans? I'm sure they did. Just like, we sit around and talk about the woke right. We sit around and we talk about the left. We talk about the enemies of our country. We all have those types of conversations. The difference is it doesn't incite us to violence, but some people it does. And so, yeah, I mean, trying to predict what other people did or would do based on what you would do, I think you're going to fall short every single time. But that's my 2 cents on it. But I appreciate your comment, Colton.
I mean, it could just be that they, he's in a Tyler Robinson, that was probably his first girlfriend, or whatever you want to call it, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever,
Right.
Yeah, it's but like, it turns out he's trans, and then he wanted to be sort of like a hero to Twigs and take out Charlie Kirk, who,
And to some extent, you know, I think it's fair to look at the trans community, especially, but even the LGBTQ. It's like there's a cult-like mentality, right? You are all or nothing. You either support everything that we do, or you support nothing, and you're all in. You're willing to fight and die essentially for this cause. I think there's a lot of that built into that community, and so, you know, you know what? This reminds me. This would be a great. I would love to have a behavioral psychologist come on and kind of talk about some of these things that have studied some different criminal case studies. I think that would be really interesting to hopefully someone that knows what they're talking about kind of frame this in a way that makes sense for everybody.
Yeah. You know what's weird is I would say for at least if you people on my channel know this for I don't know, since Caitlyn Jenner won the ESPYs and said that you should be able to compete with the sport you're I go, oh my God. So since then, like even on my show, like 6-7 years ago before it was popular, I'd say, you guys, we cannot allow men who claim they're women to compete in female sports. No. And we can't have them do anything and claim they're women that affects any other women. Like, see, here's the thing is women work so hard to finally, you know, they're equal and then kick our ass like a lot of times in different places out there. And the thing is when you start allowing men again to screw you over by having them compete against your daughters, man, it is just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And I don't have any problem if somebody wants to be transgender and do their thing and hang out with other people and stuff like that. I really don't care at all. What I care about is when it affects the lives of other people, and especially other full classes of people. I mean, imagine being a girl and you work your ass off to get at the 100-meter dash, and you're really good. I mean, hell, you're fastest in the state, and then some guy comes along and goes, "Hey, I'm a girl," and they get out there and they just smoke you. I mean, and they get the first place trophy, and you get second. And it's just it's garbage.
And by the way, they're now competing for scholarships. They're competing for a lot of other opportunities.
It's insane.
And now, not only are they a woman, but now they're also this protected class that a lot of these, you know, schools and things. So now we're redirecting resources away from the women to them. And never mind the fact that now these women with dicks are going into the restrooms. They're going into the changing rooms, the locker rooms. We just had a huge case of this in Loudoun County, where we had a male that decided he was a female, ended up, you know, sexually assaulting multiple students. They moved him from school to school to cover this up, and it was a big deal in Loudoun County.
Oh, that's just, you know, a one-off story.
And look, the one... It was Charlie Kirk that started actually talking about this at a national level, and people started listening. And again, he sat it down with it. It wasn't just like from a biblical perspective, and that's what he did so well. He's like, hey, look, I got the biblical argument over here, but I also have the logical argument over here. And he always went with that. And he was extremely compelling and persuasive. And that's why they killed him.
Shapiro was really good at that, too, when he would debate people.
Extremely good at that.
Yeah, but it's so frustrating. I mean, so let's see. Now, you could have a woman first president, but it's actually a guy, you know? No, they'd say, well, it's the first trans. No, they wouldn't want. If you called her a trans first president, they'd get angry because they're a woman, right? So it's the first woman president is actually, you know, so that's where it's just absolutely ludicrous. And be what you want to be. I think that's what, like, transvestites are kind of like, I think similar to that, like 20 years ago. You know, they hung out, did their things, they dressed as female, they identified as being female and so forth. But I just don't understand how that became a thing. To me, it's almost mind-boggling that became...
It's perverted. It's there's a whole lot of other things that it branches off to from a psychological and just psychosis standpoint. And I think most of us reasonable people, and that was the other thing too, there was such a time before Charlie and other people started speaking out on it, Riley Gaines amongst other, like there was a short period of time where I think a lot of conservatives were shamed into even talking about it, because it's like, you're bigoted, you're racist. They got us to shut up. That it was courageous people like Charlie Kirk, like Riley Gaines, and many others that were willing to go up there and make the case, make the argument against this, and say this is what's going on, this is why it's wrong. And they all had death threats. They were all like, they were trying to riot at any school that they went to. They tried to stop them from speaking. But yeah, we're supposed to believe that Israel suddenly killed Charlie Kirk. I just don't buy it. It doesn't make sense to me. Why hasn't Israel taken out Candace Owens or
that's the one.
or now, Tucker Carlson? Like, there's so many other, like, if Israel's going to take people out, there's so many better targets. And by the way, like, they're smart enough to understand that, hey, if I take this out, there's going to be blowback. If I took out Charlie Kirk, even though the only thing that we have from Charlie Kirk, we have a long history. We have a ton of evidence of his love for Israel and his support of Israel. Then we got one little text that they want to build a complete narrative out that he's frustrated with an American Jewish donor. He's just mad at donors, trying to influence what he does or does not do and who he platforms, who he doesn't platform. That doesn't mean that he's completely going to turn into Nick Fuentes. And that's what everybody wants to convince you of. Is like, no, he was turning anti-Semitic. He was going to start talking about how evil Israel is. Because that's a leap that doesn't make sense. And I think anybody that's open and honest, objective would agree to that.
Yeah, because like I said, I've been talking about that issue for 6 years. I'm nowhere near as big as them, so. But I lost a lot of subs. Like during those times, I'd say, "Hey, you guys, we just can't have." Oh, I'm out of here, Gray. Because it's like people are shamed in, like you were saying, into believing something. And if you hear somebody say something different, you have to pretend that you're really outraged, or you'll look like, "Wait a minute, you weren't outraged at that? That his comment of." I don't know. It's one of the most frustrating topics that it's not true crime. That's probably why people get the hell out of there. But I wanted to bring it up anyways.
Well, it's worth discussing for sure. Chris says, why is nobody talking about the post before he was killed, saying something big was going to happen? They're all tied to the trans queer group. Yeah. So what she's talking about specifically, for people who don't know, is that there were multiple social media posts talking about this. And they were all trans LGBTQ freaking groups that were talking about, oh, something's big is going to happen tomorrow. I do think that those have been investigated at this point. I don't think anything came out of them. I don't know if those were people just talking crap and trying to, like, there's a lot of people that do that. Obviously start making threats online in order to cause a disruption or maybe even cancel an event.
I mean, what if he said something like, "Oh man, and they didn't really believe him." But you know how like people say it, they go, "Hey, watch tomorrow," just in case something. And then it really did happen.
I had somebody in my comments last night, and I was like, "Man, you shouldn't say that." It was in a YouTube comment. It was like, "I can tell you right now," this is what this person said. "I can tell you right now, if Tyler Robinson gets off, I'm taking him out." That's what that person said, quote unquote. And I was like, "Woo, we shouldn't say that." But a lot of people out of emotion say a lot of things, and if it doesn't mean that they're actually going to act on it, it doesn't mean they did act on it, doesn't mean they're part of a conspiracy. It's just the truth. Should those things be investigated? Absolutely. Have they been investigated? I don't know. I think they have. But I do think that the potential that we have left is that there was a larger conspiracy on the outside of that. Could that have been pushed through a foreign entity? Could have been pushed through like these George Soros types 764 or 09A, or all of those things are possibilities. What to me is just not a possibility, given what we know, is that there was an additional shooter. He was shot with a palm gun, camera gun, tunnels underneath him, the French, Israel. Like, there's no evidence of that. There's no evidence of that. And I'm not going to participate in throwing out actual evidence for your pet conspiracy that you have nothing to present for it. You just want to convince me to believe and using all this other weird stuff that you got to build upon and build upon and build upon with nothing other than your wild imagination. I'm just not going to do that. And if you present me with actual evidence that somebody else was involved, there's different, I'm all over it. Let's find that out. But you can't present any evidence whatsoever. And the thing that I think Gray and I get frustrated with, I know I do, I want to speak for him, is how many people knowingly lie. When Baron Coleman is telling you that he was in custody at 6:25 on the 12th, that's a lie. That's intentional, period. When Candace Owens is telling you that Brian Harpole is at Fort Huachuca, that's a lie. when, you know, all of these things, like they know it's not true. And that's why they have to hide the exculpatory information that they have. They omit that completely so that their narrative survives just the common sense smell test. So that's where we're at. Greg, any last words for the viewers?
Nope, I don't have anything, but I appreciate you having me come on, and maybe we'll do some more. He's supposed to be sending me more stuff. Hopefully we'll, I don't know what else might be in there, but yeah, it's just great coming on and talking to you and all of your viewers and my viewers, I guess, apparently on my channel.
Well, listen, folks, you know, people like Gray and I need your support. And one of the best ways you can support what we do is sharing our content. So anytime you see it, just share it. When I see a video of Gray's come out, I don't need to look at it necessarily. I try to watch them all, but I just share it right away. Like I believe in what he's doing. And I know he's going to tell the truth, and I know he's integrity. And that's what we're here for. The truth is what's important. And the little lies have such damaging effect, and they grow so big that it's hard to foresee it a lot of time. That's why we have to constantly be out there fighting those, slapping those down. Like, no, we're not playing this game. And we need you all to be doing that as well. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting the truth. It's becoming more rare every single day. And hope you enjoyed all the, I don't know, the drama with Elizabeth Only Spies Lane. But yeah, we're going to keep doing what we're doing, folks. So thank you for tuning in. Gray, you don't go anywhere, but for everybody else, thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you back Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. All right. We're going to be going live at 3 p.m. then also at 7 p.m. as well. So until next time, stay armed, stay ready. We'll talk to you.